Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
The internet changed how we work. AI is changing what work gets done. A bank cut loan processing from days to hours. A student built an AI scheduler, improving on-time delivery from under 70% to over 90%. Most teams know AI matters, but aren't sure where to start. InAI is Indiana's statewide AI adoption effort, built with industry, academia, and community partners, helping you move from understanding to action. Visit inaiready.com.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the morning of Monday, July 6, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. Communities throughout Indiana are continuing to invest in ways to boost tourism spending, according to Indiana Destination Development Corporation interim CEO Amy Howell. She cites the most recent data, which shows a record 83.3 million visitors to Indiana in 2024, up from nearly 2% from the previous year.
We've been on the upswing the past few years. COVID really brought to light our natural resources in the state, our state parks. We got our national park finally. So people are really taking notice that they want to come to Indiana, not just for a place to visit, but a place to work, to live, go to school, you name it.
She said the biggest challenge comes from neighboring states, which are backed by much bigger budgets and aggressively targeting the same consumers. As plans for a major redevelopment of the former Colgate-Palmolive manufacturing campus in Clarksville continue, another project is set to take place just across the street. Jeffersonville-based The Cornerstone Group is planning to build Clark in Maine, a $21 million project that will feature 69 apartments and more than 21,000 square feet of commercial space. Construction is slated to begin in December. A provider of ultra-pure gases headquartered in Paris, France, is planning to set up shop in West Lafayette. Air Liquide announced this month it will invest $170 million to build 2 production units near the future home of the $3.87 billion SK Hynix semiconductor fabrication facility. The units are expected to be operational in late 2028, though the company did not specify how many jobs will be created as a result. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.
Southwest Indiana farmers can now receive up to $10,000 in state aid to help implement soil and water conservation measures. Here's Gary Dick.
The Indiana State Department of Agriculture has launched the Indiana Management of Agriculture Enhancements, or IMAGE, cost share program. Under the program, farmers may receive reimbursement for up to 75% of eligible project cost, with a maximum reimbursement of $10,000. Eligible conservation practices include measures that involve pasture and hay planting, livestock pipelines, soil amendments, and water facilities. The program will be administered by ISDA in partnership with local soil and water conservation districts, the National Resource Conservation Service, and conservation professionals throughout the region. The initial rollout will serve 23 counties in southwest Indiana. The State Soil Conservation Board designated $500,000 of Clean Water Indiana funding for ISDA to administer the program. Interested farmers are being encouraged to contact their designated ISDA resource specialist or local soil and water conservation district. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio.
A federal bankruptcy judge last week approved the $8 million sale of Jasper Rubber products to Jasper Acquisition Company, with Fort Wayne-based Press Sealed Corporation serving as guarantor. The decision makes way for the potential restart of operations at the Dubois County facility. The decision comes months after Cleveland-based First Brands Group, Jasper Rubber's parent company, informed employees that it would shut down operations and lay off roughly 330 workers in April as part of a broader restructuring tied to its Chapter 11 bankruptcy case. Court filings indicate Jasper Acquisition intends to begin operating the facility shortly after closing. The WNBA at 30 is the subject of this week's Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.